Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a look at Bhutan. It's fascinating, really, how entrepreneurship is sort of bubbling up there, shaped by its own unique culture and, well, goals.
Absolutely. We've got some material here focused specifically on entrepreneurship in Bhutan, and we're going to dig into it.
Yeah, our mission, if you like, is to understand what's driving things.
Yeah.
The successes, the obstacles, the real tough stuff, and also the support that's emerging.
It's this blend, isn't it? Tradition, gross national happiness, and then these new businesses starting up. It's quite a mix. Let's see what these examples tell us.
Okay, let's jump right in. First up, Dem Shegdem and Peldon Enterprise Limited. She started out small, right? Selling homemade potato chips.
Yeah, that's right. Homemade potato chips, which probably tells you something about accessible starting points back then. Maybe local food businesses were a common way in.
A simple consumer need met locally.
Exactly. But then she made this incredible pivot. I mean, this is the really interesting part. From potato chips to establishing Bhutan's first steel manufacturing company.
Wow, okay. That's not a small step. From snacks to steel. What drove that, do we think? A gap in the market.
Likely saw a major opportunity, perhaps with construction or infrastructure needs growing. It points to, well, serious ambition and the ability to navigate something complex.
Definitely speaks volumes about her vision.
And it wasn't just about her own company. She also founded BOWE, the Bhutan Association of Women Entrepreneurs.
Ah, so pushing for wider change, too, helping other women get into business.
Precisely. The goal was boosting women's participation. BAWE probably offers, networking, maybe mentorship, skills training, things tailored to challenges women might face there.
And she's received national recognition for all this, which isn't surprising.
No, it really highlights her impact beyond just the steel plant. It shows how one person's success can ripple outwards.
Okay, let's shift gears. Second story, Dechen Chodron and Dichen's Atelier. This one's more creative fashion.
Right. And she brought in an outside perspective, studied fashion design. Was it Malaysia?
Yes, Malaysia. So she comes back with these international ideas.
And the key thing is how she's blended them with traditional Bhutanese textiles,
Yeah.
taking that rich heritage and giving it a contemporary twist.
Seems like it's clicked. She's dressed Miss Bhutan, even Bollywood celebrities, apparently. That's quite the endorsement.
It really is. It suggests those traditional elements, the patterns, the colors, the weaving, perhaps have a real appeal when presented in a modern way.
What makes those textiles stand out, do you think?
It could be the unique weaving techniques, the vibrant dyes, the specific cultural motifs. Her skill is probably in knowing how to integrate that into, current styles without losing the essence.
And notably, she works out of a government-backed startup incubator in Thimphu.
Ah, okay. That's significant. It tells us there's some formal support structure available, right?
Yeah.
Especially for those early days.
Yeah, incubators often provide crucial things like workspace, maybe mentoring, connections, stuff that's hard to get otherwise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Suggests the government is actively trying to nurture these kinds of creative ventures. Good sign.
Moving on, Tashidema and Green Road Bhutan. Now, this sounds interesting, tackling an environmental problem head-on.
Yes, this is a great example. The problem, waste management, specifically plastic waste.
Okay, a huge issue globally.
Right. And her solution is really innovative, using recycled plastic waste to actually construct roads.
Using plastic in roads. How does that work, basically?
Well, generally, the processed plastic waste gets mixed in with bitumen, the usual road stuff. It can apparently make the roads more durable, and crucially, it keeps plastic out of landfills.
So it's a double win. Tackling waste and improving infrastructure. That's clever.
Very much so. It's like a circular economy approach in practice. You're turning a problem into a resource.
What kind of hurdles would a business like that face, though? Getting enough plastic consistently? Quality control?
Yeah, all of the above, probably.
Yeah.
Logistics of collecting and processing the plastic, ensuring the final road mix meets standards, maybe even convincing authorities or contractors it's a viable method. Scaling up wouldn't be simple.
Makes sense. Okay, fourth one. Shoing Dem and Shijor's Azy. This is about food again, but traditional. Ize, the Bhutanese chili paste.
Yes, a staple. And what's notable here is the international reach.
Yeah.
Their Ize is apparently available in Australia.
Really? From Bhutanese chili paste to Australian shelves. How does that happen?
Good question. Maybe tapping into the demand for authentic, maybe spicy, world foods. Good marketing, finding the right distributors, I suppose. And presumably the product itself is just really good.
It shows potential for niche cultural products to go global.
Definitely. And like Damchai Dem, there's a social angle too.
Yeah.
Chuang Dem is mentioned as empowering other women through employment in her business.
So creating jobs locally, which is fantastic. It's another example of business driving community benefit.
Right. It's not just profit, it's about people too.
Lastly, Sonam Chodin. She opened a cafe in Giddu, but her background, she's an engineer.
Yeah, an engineering graduate decided to go into the cafe business instead.
That's quite a shift. Any idea why?
Well, maybe she just saw a local need. The cafe targets students and locals in Giddu, so perhaps there wasn't a good spot for them before. Or maybe it was just her passion.
Could be. And her engineering mind might bring a certain efficiency to running the place, maybe?
Could be. And she's also been recognized, locally awarded Best Woman Entrepreneur in Chuka. So her efforts are being noticed.
It's great to see that local level recognition, too. These stories, they really paint a picture of, well, energy and initiative.
They absolutely do. But the material we're looking at is clear. It's not all smooth sailing. There are some significant challenges Bhutanese entrepreneurs face.
Right. Let's dig into those. First up, the big one, limited access to finance. Why is getting funding so tough there?
Well, like everywhere, starting a business needs capital. But in Bhutan, it seems banks often require pretty strict collateral.
Meaning you need assets to borrow money, which startups usually don't have yet.
Exactly. It's that classic catch-22. Plus, there might not be enough financial products, loans or investment options, that are specifically designed for the risks and needs of a new business.
So good ideas might just stall for lack of cash to get going or grow.
That's the risk. It hinders growth. It prevents scaling up. You can have a great product, but if you can't fund production or marketing, you're stuck.
Which links to the second challenge mentioned, market constraints, getting the product to customers.
Yeah, this is tricky too. Domestically, Bhutan isn't a huge market, and reaching different parts of the country can be hard. Plus, there's competition from imported goods.
Imports might be cheaper or have better known brands.
Could be. And then internationally. Breaking into foreign markets is a whole other ballgame. You need branding skills, marketing know-how, understanding trade rules.
Stuff that small businesses might just not have the resources or expertise for.
Precisely. Building a brand that resonates outside Bhutan, competing with established global players, that's a massive challenge.
Okay, third hurdle, regulatory and bureaucratic stuff. The dreaded red tape.
Uh-huh. It seems navigating the rules, getting all the necessary permits and certifications can be complex and slow.
So delays in getting approvals can actually hurt the business operations.
Definitely. Delays mean uncertainty, maybe missed opportunities, added costs. It just makes everything harder, especially if you're small and don't have, a dedicated legal team.
It drains time and energy that could be spent on the actual business.
Exactly. You want entrepreneurs focusing on innovation and customers, not just paperwork.
And finally, challenge number 4, infrastructure and technology. Things we often take for granted.
Right. Things like reliable internet. If connectivity is patchy or slow, it's a major barrier today. How do you run an online store or use cloud software or even just communicate effectively?
Especially in rural areas, I imagine.
Yes, the gap might be wider there. And limited access to modern technology in general can hold back certain industries, especially anything tech-based. It affects competitiveness.
So even with a brilliant idea and drive, the basic infrastructure needs to be there to support it.
It's fundamental in the modern economy. So, yes, significant headwinds. But the good news is there are support systems trying to address these things.
Okay, let's look at the support side. What about the government and institutions?
Well, the government, through the Department of Cottage and Small Industries, DCSI seems quite active. They're running incubation programs, offering mentorship.
Practical help for early stages.
Yeah. And crucially, they're trying to improve access to finance. There's mention of a specific bank, the National CSI Development Bank.
CSI meaning cottage and small industries.
Yeah.
So a bank focused just on them.
Seems like it. Which hopefully means they offer loans or products that are better suited to startups, maybe less reliant on that heavy collateral we talked about. It's a targeted approach.
That could make a real difference. What about international help?
That's mentioned too. Collaborations with organizations like ISAMOD, that's the International Center for Integrated Mountain Development, and the UNDP.
United Nations Development Program. So big players. What do they bring?
They often bring expertise, funding, training programs, maybe connections to international networks and mentors. It helps build capacity within Bhutan's ecosystem.
So they kind of supplement the local efforts, bringing in global knowledge and resources.
Right. It enhances the whole support structure, helps connect Bhutanese entrepreneurs to wider opportunities and best practices.
And finally, specific programs for youth and women. We mentioned BAOWE earlier. Are there others?
Yes, an initiative called Innovate Bhutan is highlighted. These programs focus specifically on empowering young people and women.
Why the specific focus?
While often these groups face particular barriers or represent untapped potential. So programs offer tailored education, incubation, skills development, aiming to foster a whole new generation of diverse entrepreneurs.
That makes sense. Building the future pipeline.
Exactly. It's about creating a more inclusive and dynamic entrepreneurial culture.
So putting it all together, what we're seeing in Bhutan is this real resilience and innovation from individuals.
Definitely. People finding ways, despite the hurdles.
Facing significant challenges, particularly around finance and markets, but also with a growing network of support trying to smooth the path.
And it all seems to be happening within that unique Bhutanese context, possibly linking back to their values around sustainability and, gross national happiness. It might shape what kinds of businesses thrive.
Absolutely. So, wrapping up this deep dive, we've seen these really inspiring stories, Damche Dem, Techen Chodron, and the others, real people making things happen.
Incredible journeys, many of them.
But we've also seen the very real obstacles they're up against. Finance, market access, red tape, infrastructure. It's not easy.
No, the challenges are substantial,
Yeah.
but the support systems, both local and international, are clearly growing and playing a vital role.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for you listening. Bhutan's path seems quite distinct, doesn't it? Given its focus on culture, environment, GNH.
Very distinct.
How might that unique context shape its entrepreneurial future differently from, say, the Silicon Valley model? Could
Right.
they pioneer a different kind of entrepreneurship, one maybe more focused on well-being or sustainability alongside profit?
It's a fascinating question. And perhaps there are lessons there for other countries too, right?
Yep.
About how to foster entrepreneurship in a way that aligns with deeper national values.
Mhm.
Something to think about.